How many of you would like to understand how to do sales in a way that you actually feel good about, that it really just feels like a natural conversation and your customers and your clients are just like, where do I sign? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. In this presentation, for those of you that are online, the high ticket buyer thing is going to make sense. For those of you that are not, it's just a term that we use to describe like our highest package, right? Like our nicest, biggest piece of the pie, okay? So in this presentation, I'm going to talk to you about how to go about that conversation. We're also going to talk about how to hit higher income months consistently. Okay, now whatever that is for you, maybe it is 20K, but if you have a huge business with lots of employees, it's probably far different from that. So just know that a lot of the lingo is geared towards a specific, more solopreneur, but it all applies, okay? All right. I tried to change little things here and there as much as I could. When I came into the online space, this is all I heard. Marketing, 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 right? Like everybody needed to know how to create content. They wanted to make reels. And here I am stepping up and like, yeah, we got to sell, right? And everybody's like, no, we don't need to do that part. That part will just automatically, magically, like some fairy comes in because my content went viral and people just magically buy. Okay, and while we would love that to be the case, it's not, and that's why a lot of people are confused. They just think they need some magic strategy or magic system, and all their prayers will be answered. Wave at me if anybody's felt that or knows what I'm talking about, especially the online space. Whew. And then everybody's wondering, what is going on? Why I have these people, they're following me. Why are they not buying? What's going on here? And so we're going to address that today. I'm going to talk about a conversion process, but for you all specifically, we're going to really have a heavy focus on the sales conversation. How does that sound? Okay. So I know some of you, I've seen you on some of the calls, but for those of you that don't know me, I'm Jana Niksa. I was in the sales world for over 2 decades as a top performing sales executive. And after all of these lovely things, top closer in the nation, I stand here before you today to say you absolutely don't have to sell like a man in order to be successful. So can I get an amen, ladies? Amen. Okay. So this is what most people think when they think of sales. And you aren't wrong. And so when I got my first sales job, here I am in South Florida, didn't know a soul, and they trained me all up, and they're like, when they say this, you say that, and ABC, which is always be closing, and all of this terrible advice, in my opinion. And so I get out there at my first sales job, and I am just bombing left and right. It was awful. And I was crying daily, honestly, because I was like, I just don't feel like myself. What have I done? I'm 9 hours from anybody I know. And so unfortunately, or fortunately, sort of, at least for me in this situation, a hurricane hit my territory. And it pretty much took out a lot of my offices and places I was calling on, at least temporarily. I'm sure some of us, after what we've been through the last few months, understand. So people were just kind of like making it work, right? So all of a sudden I went from all this pressure, has anybody else felt pressure to get the sale, to, well, they can't fire me now. I may as well do it my way, because otherwise I was just always trying to fit the square peg in the round hole, okay? So I decided in that moment, it was one of those first intuitive hits that I remember like actually following, and I just started doing it my way. I just started showing up as me. I just started having a conversation with the human in front of me instead of, okay, the company told me I have to say it like this, and if I don't say it like this, and then, oh my God, blah, 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 like spinning out, right? And what was so interesting is the more I stepped into me and how I wanted to do it and followed my intuition and truly cared and stopped looking at everybody as dollar signs, things just started to happen and fall in place. And so we're going to talk about why that is. And tell this quick little story. Is anybody here familiar with the chickens and the eagle? So there was this farmer, and he was walking across his land, and he came up on the edge of his property, and there was a baby eagle laying on the ground. He's like, oh my gosh. And he looks up and he sees that it has fallen out of its nest. And so he goes and he takes the eagle and he's like, well, I can't get it back up there. So he takes it home and he puts it in the chicken coop. What else do you do? And so this baby eagle grows up amongst all these chickens. So it's like pecking like a chicken. I mean, can you imagine like an eagle, like running around, like thinking it's a chicken? And so anyway, one of his relatives came to hang with them or whatever, and he's kind of a bird expert. And he's like, what is that eagle doing in the chicken coop? And he's like, oh, you know, that's such and such. He thinks he's a chicken. And the bird guy was like, no, that's an eagle. He may be in this environment and think it's a chicken, but he's still an eagle. And so he goes over and he picks up the eagle and he throws it and it just lands on the ground. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know, just doesn't do eagle things, right? And he's not convinced. No, it's an eagle. There's an eagle in there still. And so he has an idea. He's like, do you remember where the nest was? And they're like, yeah. So, you know, so they take the eagle and they go to the edge of the property and the nest is still there. And ironically enough, all these eagles are flying up above. And so he takes the little baby eagle and he just throws it kind of up off over a cliff. So it was a little risky of a move if you ask me. But anyway, it starts to fall, but then it remembers. And it makes me teary because it spread its wings and it started to fly. And it just flew straight up and met up with its family. It's like it already knew. All it needed to do is be reminded of what it really was. And that's for each and every one of you. Because in a society and place where, you know, we're told you got to do it this way and you have to say it that way and you got to get in this box and you got to do this many pieces of content and you have to be a landing page and all of these things, and you're just pecking around like a chicken when you're an eagle. And so that's where your power is.